Conversation is recorded. Boom. All right. Welcome, guys, to the customer appreciation meeting, whatever you want to call this. In all seriousness, I thank you guys. You've entrusted me with what may be large amounts of money to some of you, small to others. Nonetheless, your commitment, your attention, it's what's important to me. In all honesty, the money is not the most important part to me. Your heart is. If I have your heart, I can change your habits, because that's what's stopping a lot of you from getting what you want, is the stories you tell yourself that form the behaviors that all of you have. So that's how I like to kick this off. What I'd like for you to do is just, we'll take some time, just share some of the stories, some of the heartbreaks we've had to go through together in this. So Elena, you're the first one I see on camera. I'd love for you to kick us off. So what's being a member been like for you? So I want to hear your story, kind of the things that you haven't told me, maybe some of the initial impressions that, I don't know, maybe you thought I was mean and you came inside and saw I was a softie. Like what was it? I want to hear your story.
Thank you, Mason. So, what it's like being here, I mean, everybody I know have very different stages, it seems. So me being at my stage and really trying to dig in and run my own agency as an independent, and finding you at a time where I just, felt like, I was drowning and just didn't know how to expand out of the family and friends realm, which I kind of still, am piecing that together. But and feeling that, my any other I had a couple of other coaches, and I don't consider you to be a coach in the way that I consider them to be a coach, because it was like all about just massive growth in this area and this, but it
You gotta
wasn't
fix your
specific.
mindset,
Yeah,
man.
right, your mindset, man, right? And like I was like, no, this is about insurance. And so I needed a you that was insurance based on top of everything. So you're like 10 times all of them, because you're specific to what I needed, plus you are them in the mindset, man. And
You want to know the crazy part is I used to sell that shit.
yeah, you saw, yeah.
I used to sell straight mindset stuff. And here's the thing is I've just embedded it in the programs to where you're forced to take the actions that get you to come upon those beliefs that I have myself. And you think you did it the whole time. Meanwhile, I orchestrated the experiences.
Yes.
Why? Because I know what beliefs you need to have in order to get the results you want.
And yes, and that's true. You really
It's
do.
all
And I
unconscious. It's all unconscious. So no, I'm extremely proud of you. But
Well,
go
thank you. I
ahead.
mean, I've still got a long way to go, and I pulled back a little because I was doing some other stuff. I was getting some as they say, you got to have money to make money kind of thing, and that's partly true. And then, it can kind of go back and forth, but I had to regroup. I had invested in some other stuff, and, I had to kind of regroup. So right now, my goal for this month is, yeah, for July is I'm finishing up a couple things with my own social media stuff. I know the whole funnel thing, but I just really am trying to figure out how to uh target these particular people that I'm getting close to, that I need for to sell what I want to sell, which is like my life insurance for my particular age. The funnel thing is one thing. Also, the understanding of the targeting for everything. And so that's kind of what I'm working on. And then once I do that, because when I post on Facebook and TikTok, I mean, I'm getting, I think I had one video that had like 2,500 views or something, which was really great. Yeah, Tiffany, same thing, right? I was like, it was really in that instance, but I'm realizing that, again, everybody's story is different. We have to use this internet, and we have to use uh, the systems for what's going to work for us. And I've found out I'm learning what doesn't work for me, even though there are many things that do work for me. And so this month is me really understanding my content, putting some videos together. I've had a couple videos I put on YouTube, but really just getting to the point where I'm able to consistently add to my foundation of what my content is, even though I still have to get out there in the streets per se. I think I still have to do that for me and still do a little bit of the marketing. I bought this doggone placard for the golf course that's gonna run for a year. So we're gonna sound like I'm just like, okay, well, so it started and they called me as a matter of fact yesterday, like, oh Lena, it's at the Chastain golf course, it's beautiful, and it'll be for a year. I'm like, thanks. We'll see how that works out. But I'm doing stuff, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without you. And I know that, I know it's gonna work. That's all I'm saying. So to me, that's the story and all of that. And this is random. I know you like random, Mason. Everybody don't want to take too much time. But today, just today, this happened. It's so bizarre. I went to get some food at my little this favorite Caribbean place. So I'm in there and this guy is, ordering food as well. And I'm ordering and, he say hi as a normal hi and all that kind of stuff. So I'm leaving. And when I leave, he's out there in the parking lot and he's just like, oh, hi. And I was like, oh, hi, and he's like, I hope I'm not, this isn't gonna be off putting, but I'm telling you what he said, y'all. Like, you're gorgeous. And I just had to say that. And you're beautiful. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Thank you so much. He's like, oh, are you married? I don't see your ring. I was like, well, actually, I'm not, but he's like, I have, yes, somebody. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, well,
Yes.
I just had to tell you that I didn't want to just go by and I wanted to wait for you to come out. And so he said, so there's no way I can take you to dinner. I'm like, no, no way, no dinner. And so he says, well, I just want to say this. You look like a mix. I'm just telling you what he said, y'all, between Halle Berry and Lisa Lopez. I'm like, well, that's nice. Thank you. And whatever. So I was like, okay, well, thank you. And he's like, I see you trying to leave. I'm like, yeah, so thank you. Take care. And pretty much left. So I get in the car and just so happened my guy is calling. I was like, oh, you're not going to believe this, babe. This happened, blah, blah. So I live in this really weird little cul-de-sac area. Like if you pass it, it's almost like the Chronicles of Narnia. You're not going to find it unless you know it's there. So I'm driving and so just as I turn into the right into my area, I see this car kind of veer over really quickly, like they missed the spot. And they turned behind me. And so I was like, I know doggone well this cannot be the dude. And so sure enough, I pull up a little and I'm like, it's the dude. This dude freaking followed me. So I don't pull all the way back to where I live. I kind of stop in front of a couple people's houses. And then he pulls right next to me now. And this was today. And so he's kind of rolled his window down smiling. I'm a curse, y'all. I'm so sorry. I totally curse. It's okay to curse, right? And I don't hardly ever curse. And so, and he was like, hey, I just had to say, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And he was like, oh, no. And then I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, you followed me? And so he said, well, I just wanted to take one more time. I didn't know if I had said everything back there. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was like, and so my phone started, all these trees, the video call started kind of losing it. And he says, I'm sorry. I'm like, go. And he's like, and he looked and he kind of whatever. But I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So he pulled into the house that we were in front of, and I can sit on my ring, but you can't see my car because I'm back further. And he turned around, and just then, like, because my phone was going, and my guy called, I was like, this freaking weirdo just followed me home. I'm like, this is not going to say. So he followed me. So my daughter's father and my brother, they were all like, call the cops or whatever. So, and I called the restaurant and they were like, it's camera. They're like, yeah, we know, because I'm there all the time. They're like, Elena, I'm sorry. But yeah, like how freaking bizarre. That's past bizarre, is that? So that happened to me today at lunch. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad you stood your ground. I'm glad you didn't get abducted or anything. I'm glad you're safe and alive. So
yes. Okay. So sorry. So anyway, so this is, I know it seems like I'm moving slow in some pieces, Mason, but I am structuring this.
You're on the right track.
Okay.
It's just a matter of when for if and every one of us. That's all it is.
Exactly. That's it. See, we're all coming in. So thank you. That's my
It's a different mix of experiences. So yeah, there's millions of different possible combinations to do things. It's never one thing that's going to work. It's always a culmination of a bunch of little small things, little 2 to 3% increments here and there. And you're like, oh, well, I
Exactly.
made it one day, 2 years later, and people see you then. So you don't see all the stuff I did before that. Like, try this, didn't work. Try this, didn't work. Try this, didn't work. Try this, it worked a little bit. Okay, I'll keep this. And you do that with 100 things, and you end up with 20 that 2 to 3%, and you're like, finally got there. So no, props to you. I'm happy
Agreed.
I'm happy you're in this. Brandy, how
Thank
are
you.
you, my friend?
Doing good.
What are you doing running around without clothes, young man?
Always.
So, Brandy, what's you've been one of my absolute OGs. You've been with me for a haul. And I love you, girl. So what's being a member been like for you? What's like the biggest story you've had in this community? Like something that would have never happened to you unless you came in here. I'm curious.
I wouldn't have been able to write my $67,000 policy
Well, kudos to you for like
without you.
all of you will make money. That is a guarantee. That's not what I care about. Like, sure, it's cool for my marketing. But like the internal transformations you guys have experienced, those are cool for me.
And that's where I definitely
Just by a show of hands or in the chat, how many of you have made more money than you've paid me? Or you've got a return. Awesome. Okay. I rest my case. I'm the best in the industry at what I do. Brandy, what's it done for you personally? Like maybe for the relationship between you and your kids? Like tell me the thing that gets your rocks off.
oh geez, I don't know. There's so many changes that have happened in, personally, just the way that I'm able to approach my kids differently just because of like the psychology side of it. I mean, so much. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, my mindset is completely different.
What's different about it? I'm curious.
Well, I know you say it's not confidence, but I mean, I'm finding the beauty in me again. And I mean, I don't.
You're an awesome human. I'm glad you found it. I found it a long time ago.
Well, thank you.
Guys, if you've given me money for anything, that's truly what it is, that breakthrough. That's all you're buying. You're just buying the version of you that can do what they want. Whatever that is, it's different for a lot of you, but that's truly what you're paying money for. Just understand you already have it. Sometimes just not yet. That's the weird thing about time, is it's an illusion. Sorry, but it's just not. I think I'm in the wrong. No, you're in the right webinar, Tiff. It's just a matter of time, my friend. I'll address that at the very end. I just want to give you guys a platform to share your own self-affirmation. Like, I want you to proclaim what you've done. For you, not for me, for you. Once you become aware of it, it becomes true. Things just take time, guys. Do you go outside and plant a tree and it's grown the next day? Like, no. Some trees grow faster than others. You got to give yourself grace. And you have to make sure you stay focused and want what you actually say you want. But more importantly, you have to be willing to pay the price for it. And I don't mean the financial price tag. That's just the first hurdle you jump over. The true cost for anything is how much life you exchange for it. That's anything. That's the true price of anything that you pay. So Malcolm, what about you, my man? What's something you thought was impossible before you came in?
Not in.
What'd you
I
think was like,
have.
that's tough, and you're like, that's easy now.
Oh, just taking consistent action on a consistent basis. That's been the biggest. Uh, yeah, for me. Instead of and following through, which I was working on as I was joining the group. Just taking action and following through completion on a more consistent basis.
Guys, if you guys want to hit your goals, like optimize like he's doing, what habits are required to get me there? What do I need to believe?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not always that money is necessary. What is it? It takes money to make money. No, it takes courage and confidence, because I made some contracts just by connecting out of my list of the church groups thing. And I'm looking forward to hitting retirement communities too. I'm much better in person. I hate being on the phone. In person works for me.
Yeah, I got it. I'm very one-sided in the directive, but I trust that all of you are smart enough to apply what I teach to get what you want in a way that you
Mm,
want it. The whole purpose is to build a business that serves you at the highest level.
right.
That's it. So I trust all of you are smart. For some reason, in the coaching space, it's like we have to be the savior of other people's problems. Stop it. You're not going to save anybody. Like, you're not going to save anybody. Can I give you guys the truth that I have to accept every day about 99% of my customers? Like,
What's
I've
that?
sold products to over 1,000 agents. How many people are on the call right now? That's a very small percentage.
Mm.
Here's the hard to swallow pill. I don't even know if I should tell you guys, and this isn't to like get you to ask me, but it's like it's gonna weigh on your conscience. And so I'll do you this favor. If you want to know what it is, you can message me. It's simple, but it's a bitter to swallow pill. But some of you have such beautiful hearts, seriously. And I don't want to put a lot of bad shit. Like, I don't want to put inherently bad stuff in there that might weigh it down. And so if you want to know it, you can message me, but I'm not going to like spoil what's good. Like, in all seriousness. So I just want to be a conscientious person for the time being. So no, great job on that, Malcolm. Luis, what's up, my friend? Share. Let's go to story time. What's something you've overcame with this? I want to hear.
You know what? So kind of like coming into your program, and then going through the material and then listening to you and then chatting with all other people in the group, it kind of like, because when you're starting out in this business, you feel a little crazy, like what the hell am I doing? And I'm just, all this money's going out and holy shit, is this going to work for me and stuff? And then, I remember when I got my first sale, because I'm brand new in the thing when I signed up, and the reason being primarily is because there's no support, there's no information, there's really no training. There's a lot of negativity, in my organization. I don't know about y'all, but I just see this kind of like you're dancing in a pit of vipers, kind of a thing. And
Yep.
so I come into this group and I don't know anybody. Everybody's friendly to me. Everybody's helpful. Nobody wants my money except for you, actually. You're the only one that wants my money, it seems like, but that's fine. I don't mind giving you my money. So which is fine. And you're upfront about it, which is okay. Everybody else is like,
Listen,
we're
full
taking your money."
transparency. I run
Yeah,
a
full
for-profit
transparency.
business. I want you as customers for life,
Yeah.
because how many of you want customers for life?
Of course, of course. Yeah, it's a great model. It's a great model. So, so all this, it's like the one positive space in all of the insurance industry, that's really kind of kept me going, So when Alana gets a win, like when she made her her book, you know, when Brandy made her $67,000 deal, you know, when Kyle got his 5 deals from like 0 to hero in like a few weeks.
That guy went from 0 to averaging 15 sales a month in 8 weeks.
Yeah, and nothing.
He just
And his
listened to me.
mindset. And it's mindset, right? And so like I'm seeing all these people around me win. And you know what I mean? And they have no reason to lie to me because they're not like trying to get money out of me or anything. So I'm seeing them all win, and it bolsters my enthusiasm for the business and my courage in the business and everything. So it's been a big win for me being in the organization. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you trusting me enough to give me money. More important than that, give me your attention.
Yeah.
That's truly what you're selling.
Yeah, I've learned a lot from you. Thank you.
Well, I learned just as much from teaching it to you guys. So the teacher learns twice. Understand that. We can argue who gets the short end of the stick on the deal because there has to be one. I would argue that it's me, but I love being able to teach sometimes and be a student all the time. So it's just a good life philosophy. I'm always a student, sometimes a teacher. And so it's so cool to learn from you guys as well. You're like, it brings back good memories of when I was in the trenches where you were, believing what you were believing, struggling with what you're struggling with. So it's a fun journey. I didn't realize business could be fun. So no, I appreciate you. Rick, I'll come over to you. I saw your camera and your pretty smile for just a second, then it turned off. There we go again.
There it is.
I went to Buc-ee's for the first time. I went to Buc-ee's for the first time and got beef jerky in your name. So,
well, welcome to Texas. Now you're officially a Texan.
They got good bathrooms, I'll say that.
Yeah, 30 or 40. You know, this has been a process for me. You know, coming to classes and then coming to the Midnight Mastermind gave me a new perspective on how I want to change my business, retool it to do one-to-many presentations. And I'm putting the infrastructure in place to make that happen with the right carriers, with the right support staff. And that's just because you kind of open my eyes to there's a better way to do things than onesie twosies. And that's really going to be a big change for my future.
No, I love that because guys, what he's talking about is leverage. He's getting more output. He's getting more like leverage from the same output. The same time it takes you to sell one person, you could sell 1,000. So he's getting more like your results per output for the same amount of effort, like dispelled. So kudos to you on that, man.
Yeah, it was just eye-opening to see how I can do things differently, more efficiently. I work a 9 to 5, a regular 9 to 5 that I'm trying to replace a $250,000 salary. So I'm not going to walk away from that until my business can support that.
And that's a smart thing to do. That's a smart thing to do. I know a lot of people out there just quit, go in full time. It's like until it costs you money to be there, don't leave.
Yeah, I'll get to that inflection point in a couple of months, probably.
Dude, awesome. Great freaking job, man. Tiffany,
Thanks.
what do you got, my friend? I don't know if you're able to unmute. If not, I know you're at work right now. So hopefully this has given you the belief and exposure to realize that this is possible.
Hey, yeah, no, I just feel like I'm at a standstill. Like, I'm just so like overwhelmed of what to do. Like, I mean, I've listened, to like the first module, like before the second one came out. And I just feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
And that's okay. Where do you do you feel like there's too many options, too many things to go explore?
Kind of, but like I think I talked to you last week, I have all these old leads and I'm like, I don't want this road again, like having to dial all these people and be like,
Then don't. So full transparency, guys, if there is enough want in this, I'll just seed this with you guys. I'll seed the idea with you. How many of you would like me to walk you through? I'm thinking a 1 call a week, 6-week boot camp on Lead Lifeline is what I'm going to call it, where I'm going to walk you through 100 messages a day, See, so this is 4 hours of work a day. You send 100 messages, you get 30 responses, you make 5 to 10 sales calls. So you book 5 to 10 sales calls. Worst case scenario, if you're shit at sales, you close 1 to 3. So on average, you should be making 1 to 3 sales per day minimum. If you're terrible at sales, if you follow my profit framework, I promise you it works. Like, just listen to me. Please just listen to me on that. I'm right, you're wrong. All right. That's one thing I will say. I am right about that. You're wrong about that. It works. It works like so well. Okay.
I'm sure it does if I
That
can get to that point.
That is my baby, the profit framework. I love it because it works so well. And you don't even have to understand it. But if you do, it gives you that much more leverage behind it. But it works so beautifully. Why? Psychology and human nature. But it's predictable. So here's the thing. That would be part one. There's a 3-step process. Part one is the messaging strategy. What do you say on the messages to a complete stranger on social media to get them to want to hop on a sales call to listen to you pitch them? 2 is running 2 types of ads. Put up your finger 2. Put up the 2 with me, like peace. Yeah, peace to poverty. Maybe that's what I call it. I don't know. So I like rhyming. I like alliteration. It's a good linguistic tool because it makes you think of it. And it's easy to remember. So peace to poverty or lead lifeline, they're both good. Away from pain towards pleasure, could call it both. So here's the thing. Part 2 is now we're running 2 types of ad campaigns. One is to a book a call funnel that has an email sequence attached. It's already done for you. It's the same thing in my webinar stuff for the book a call funnel. And 2, we run ads to a messaging campaign. So now people see our ad and they message us and we get them on a sales call right there. So we book calls like that. Now you're talking with people that's all inbound compared to outbound. And how many of you know who holds the power dynamic when you go to someone versus someone coming to you? You hold a higher status in the client's mind when they message you first. It's like if I go ask a girl on a date versus a girl asking me on a date, like she must really think I'm like better than a slice of bread. I don't know. She must think I've got the goods, right? If she asked me for a date, because that's uncommon for girls. We want to employ that same psychology in the ads. So now we're spending money to buy our time back and getting people to message us for ads, and we still book the same 5 to 10 sales calls and they're more qualified. Which means also we're going to go through and start canceling calls. Can you believe that? We're in a position where we can cancel sales calls because they're not a good fit for us, or we know they're not going to pay us enough money, and we pass those leads off. Third is now we get an appointment setter to do the organic stuff for us. So now all we do essentially is run sales calls all day, every day, and that's it. That's lead lifeline. That's the piece to, I don't know what I want to call it. I don't even know if I'm going to do it for sure or not. It probably wouldn't even take me 6 weeks. I could probably do that in 3 to 5 days. If we just got it knocked out, I could do it in a day if we all met in person. Brandy's smiling. She's like, I want to come see you, which I'm happy to do in person. It's just going to cost more. Full transparency, I did the math on that. I did the math on this earlier. If you watched my whiteboard webinar, if you follow this model, there's no reason you shouldn't profit. Say profit with me. Profit, yeah. $250,000 net. On worst case scenario, that means if you close at least half of your leads or half of your sales calls compared to 20 to 30%, you should do double that. That's $500,000 in income a year. Is that worth asking $5,000 for it? Even if you only hit the 250,000. I think it is, because here's the thing. I'm going to go sell this to agency owners after, who can then give that to their team as training and not have to waste time training them. And if you have 100 agents, most of them won't do anything. 80 of them won't do shit, but 20 of them will go through and do this. 5 of them will crush it. If you had 5 superstars all making 3 sales a day, That's 15K a day in sales on average. If you override 15%, 20%, what is that? You're making $2,000 to $3,000 a day without doing anything. Would an agency owner pay $20,000 a year for a licensing for that training? Yeah, they would. And so that's where I'm seeing what I should price this at. I'm leaning just around the $5,000 mark, $49.97. But I don't know yet. I'll definitely offer a payment plan for something around this for cold people. If you were in the tier like 2 program, you're going to get it included. So yeah, just run a customer appreciation. I'd really like to do a customer appreciation event in person, like a conference that just free for you guys to attend. Just do your own hotel cost, stuff like that. But I'd have to seed it because of how many people just don't show up to shit. And so it just depends on how much money I want to lose. So I'm going to definitely sell something there from the stage, which if you're in the tier 2 program, you'd absolutely love, because you get to watch me do it live, a webinar live from the stage. That'd be really cool. Like, that's like, you get to experience it. That's the really cool part. But if you knew how to message a complete stranger and get them to book a call with you and sell them something, would that solve all of your lead generation problems? Yes or no? There's no fucking maybe about it. And so if I get at least 100 people to raise their hand and say yes, that's indicative to me that I can make enough money off that to justify me doing it and building it. And so I'm looking at discontinuing my tier 1 program, the $997 for a year stuff. I'm looking at discontinuing that and making this that. So my question is for all of you, Luis brought up the other day that he does, like, a lot of you, let's be real, you don't want to do the marketing component because you just want to sell. If I was to do a marketing agency for this, understand it'd be at least $2,000 a month for me to do all the marketing for you. You'd get sales calls out of it. I'd run your ads. It's all done for you. But here's the risk that I take is how good can you close? How consistent are you with showing up? How much do you follow up with leads? Because I can't control that. And that's the risk I have to take on you. Versus, would you rather pay $24,000 a year for that? Or would you rather pay $5,000 one time and learn the system and do it yourself? So like these are the pros and cons I have to weigh out. Understand that owning info products, like there's a lot of big decisions that go into this, the risk that I have to take, and then the risk that you have to take. Because that means you have to learn something new, which means you're spending your time, which I hate you're doing. I hate it. If you guys want to know what I think about it at night, it's you. Not in a weird way, but in like, fuck, here's what Luis is struggling with. How can I get around that? How does that overlap with what Elaine is telling me, with what Tiffany's telling me, with what Rick's telling me? It's like, here's the overlap between all of them. If I did this, it's like, I'm going to feel bad charging them this because now I'm not getting what I'm worth. It's like, these are the pros and cons I have to weigh out, full transparency. Then I have to look at the business metrics. Does it make sense? Am I losing money on this? Like I said, I'm a for-profit at the end of the day. I don't know if any of you want to sell policies at a loss, like where you have to pay people to buy their policies. It's stupid. And it goes back to what I'm saying earlier, what I wanted to say earlier, which you can message me if you want to learn it, but it's the price you have to pay. Understanding that. And so, like I said, I'm not going to mention it on this call. If you want to know what it is, you can message me. But if you guys want the lead lifeline, or if you're serious about me doing that, like if 100 agents raise their hand and say, yeah, I'd be willing to go through that. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you want it to be over a couple of days? Do you want it to be in person? Can you afford for me to do it for you? Like, what do you want? More importantly, like as a customer, what are you willing to pull your credit card out and spend money on? Because do you guys want to learn an easy sales principle? Only sell what people are willing to pay for. I'm not going to sell stuff that people don't want to buy. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to make a product that only 3 of you need. As much as I love you, I'll give you consulting on it. But what are your thoughts on that? Feel free to unmute, say whatever you want. I hope that was concise enough.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And one of the biggest, I mean, the biggest nuggets I got out of this whole environment is I went through the bonus section of the marketing blueprint and actually creating my avatar's day from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed. Dude, that was huge. And I've been putting it off for so long and finally did that. And yeah, it's made a big difference. Just that alone.
So note for all of you, whatever you're putting off is what you need to do. I remember when I learned that, I was like, oh, these things I feel bad about doing. It's like, when I do those things, I'll have what I want. It's like, do I really want what I say I want? Yep. Okay. Have to go through pain. There's no getting through life without pain, my friends. So understand that. Pain of regret or the pain of commitment? Which one do you want? Matt, but would you pull your credit card out and give me $5,000 for that boot camp though, Malcolm, is the question.
If I got a return on my investment, like $250,000 to $500,000 a year.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So listen, 100 messages a day. You talk to 30 people, 5 to 10 of them book calls. You make 1 to 3 sales per day. How quick would that pay your 5,000 back? How many days? All right. It's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, between 1 and 3 days.
Is that not what's like, would anyone in here not pay for that? Is it just like, that's a waste of their money? And I'm not settled on that. I'm more or less leaning towards a payment plan. Like, Elena, you're in tier 2. Like most of you in here are in the tier 2 program, so it'd just be included for you. Like, Elena, act like you're just now meeting me. Okay. Would you give me $5,000 for that?
If I could directly tie it to the return on my investment, yes.
And what would give you the connection to doing that? What would give you the know-how that you're going to get your money back out of that?
I mean, just like Malcolm was saying, at the end of the day, if there's a guarantee even on a low end that the process is going to move forward, then again, it would, just like you said, it would be a no-brainer that I will be getting the return on my investment. I mean, from my policy standpoint, like within like 1 or 2 days, you know. So what would make me believe that? I guess if I yeah, I mean, from, I guess, the program before, I mean, I don't know. I think if I'm already in there, then if I'm already kind of following you, and if I've already taken it to this level, and if I'm seeing the results from other people, and if I'm seeing that you have been successful in what you're doing, and I'm kind of leading, because sometimes we have to put ourselves out there. And worst case scenario, if it's even a week or more, I would think that you wouldn't be selling a product that you wouldn't be able to guarantee.
That's the funny predicament that I'm in, like I say. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
it's
have to tell
possible,
you
but
guys.
we have to put in the work.
I'm just gonna have to tell you guys this. I know I said twice and I'm not gonna say it, but like, if anyone doesn't want to hear this, it's gonna be very pessimistic about people and your customers when you run a business like mine. So I'll give you 5 seconds to mute me for 10 seconds if you don't want to hear it. 3, 2, One, 99% of your customers are not going to get results with shit. It's, and that weighs on my heart so heavy because it's like, wow, they gave me $8,000 today and they're still not doing anything. I've given them everything they need. And that's where I have to take a step back and say, I did my part. If you're not willing to come to, like, if you're not willing to do yours, live up to your end of the deal, it's like, I've delivered. I'm not giving you your money back. And so, like, that eats me alive at night. Whether you know it or not, when I see you not posting, when I see you not log into the program for a week, like, that fucking hurts me. Because I pay attention to everybody's stuff. If you want to know what I'm doing at 4 a.m., I'm looking at how many times you log in, how many policies that you say you're selling in Slack. When you don't put anything, I don't know what results you're getting. I assume nothing. Like, I naturally expect the worst. When your behavior on how you first interact with me is what I can naturally expect throughout the rest. If I have to drag you in, I'm gonna have to drag you through. And that's where it's like, what percent of sales do I want to sacrifice because I know they're not going to get a result, even though they have the money to pay me for this? Like, do I want to be a good person or do I want to make money? And I want to do both, but sometimes you have to make a choice. Do I want to make money today or do I want to tell this person, like, go ahead, Luis.
Can I say something here? So I just want to let you know, my success has nothing to do in the end with you
Exactly.
or you staying up at night till 4 a.m. wondering
Correct.
why I haven't logged in. You don't know what's going on in my life, right? So like,
Correct.
and here's the biggest thing, right? Like, I know tomorrow I'll pick up the phone, I'll make 400 phone calls, I'll sell 2 policies, and I just do it again, and I'll do it again, and I'll do it again, right? And that's fine. But and that's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to have to do that, which is one of the reasons why I'm in this program. Here's my point. I'm just trying to help you, right? So like, don't take this personally. Everybody's at where they're at. And you remember the first time you read the book that made you go, aha, and you got something out of it. And that was how long ago? Like 10 years ago? You know what I mean? Or however long it was, and it's still bouncing around in your head and it's still changing you. What your business, you're in the business of giving people tools so that they can survive this business and thrive in the business, right? But you can't turn the crank for them. It's
Correct.
not your responsibility to turn the crank for them. It's our responsibility to do that part.
Well,
but you're helping. And
can
that's
I
why I
tell
paid
you the problem, Luis?
Yeah.
That coincides with that, because that's what I used to do. I used to sell, I'll crank the wheel for you. And when they still didn't get results, guess who they blamed? Because I was selling me rather than the systems on to get a result. If they don't use the systems that they buy, they can't bitch at me for the results they did not get. And like,
You're right.
that's where I just have to be okay with, hey, certain people
Right.
just aren't going to see results.
If I were you, I wouldn't lose an ounce of sleep at night over it, because we are who we are and we're going to do as much as we're going to do. And we're going to do as well as we're going to do. But that's on me and us, not, it doesn't reflect on you at all. The program's really good, man. The content is really good.
Correct.
The community is really good. It's all good.
The reason I stress myself out about that is because I can see, like, I can see it in people, what they're capable of. I can see the genius of each. And it's like, you're choosing to actively ignore what makes you you. Based on what? I don't know. These are the things I like incorporating into the program at an unconscious level that drives real behavior change, that like, I'm going to stop doing this and start getting results. Like, the faster I can get people to that, like, I love doing that. And it's not that I freak myself over about it, because like, I love delivering exceptional products. And so it's like, to what extent am I going to keep doing this to myself? So it's just, I try to be a highly conscientious person. And sometimes it stabs me in the ass because I step over into trying to save people. It's like, I don't want to work with brand new agents who are not even licensed and they want to go. It's like, but the moment they come to me with a problem I know I can fix, it's like, give me a hit of that shit, man. because I know I can help them, but it's like, I said I wasn't going to do this. But yeah, that's on me for doing that. But no, I like that you said that. So is anyone like, would the Lead Lifeline, would the Peace to Poverty program eliminate not knowing where your next lead's going to come from? Like, this is selling a very specific solution and system to a very narrowly and specifically solved problem. It's only lead generation. I'm not talking about sales, what to say on the sale. It's like how to get a cold stranger to get on a sales call with you. That's it. Would that solve all of your problems in here right now? And is that worth a $5,000 price tag, in your honest opinion? Like, would you send me money for that? And here, yes. Okay. So here's the thing. I encourage you guys to survey your audiences as well, and only only sell what they're willing to buy. It'll be for any types of insurance. That's the thing where I trust you guys to be smart enough to do, is apply it to your own use case. Some of you want to sell final expense to B2B business owners. Some of you want to sell mortgage protection to busy parents with 2 kids. Like, I encourage you to use the tools I've given you to come up with who you want to sell to and who you want to solve problems for. I encourage you to solve rich people's problems, because then you can charge rich people prices, as Alex Hormozy says. But that's it. That's really it. It'll work with anything. The question is, how well can you make it work? And should you make it work? Like, is this worth me doing? Well, if it's selling to broke people, the answer is no. That's what I used to do. And I wondered why I didn't make a lot of profit. So yeah, if I get, it seems like all of you are interested in the Lead Lifeline. So I'll see what I can pull together in terms of how many, if I can get 100 agents to raise their hand and say, yeah, this is worth 5,000. Well, it's worth more. I'm willing to give you 5,000 for it. And blah, because I'll probably come out with a beta version of it, test out the messaging sequences, see what percentage of agents get what results, offer a payment. Like, we'll see what it comes down to, but I'll do something around that for you guys. And the webinar stuff is going pretty well. I'm getting all the kinks worked out on that. I've done a couple of them for Brandy. Just not enough leads have shown up. I'm working with an actual agency owner right now who's spending thousands of dollars a month on generating the leads. So that means I'm going to get feedback on his stuff to apply to yours if you're in tier 2. So he's eating the risk for all of you, which is cool. Now, any questions about Lead Lifeline, anything like that? But I mean, I think it's pretty simple how I explained it. You send 100 messages, you book 5 to 10 calls, you make 1 to 3 sales every day, and then you pay someone else to do that work for you in between, and then you only do sales calls. It's 3 steps. I think it's very simple. And eventually, guess what? You can get another agent to do the sales calls for you. Now you're just collecting overrides. That is a good upline, in my opinion. If you create sales calls for your downline, if you can't do that, don't recruit. I know that goes against everything that you're told. Just be open-minded to realize I'm right.
Yeah, but that makes a lot of sense.
Does that sound too simple to anybody? Like, that's too good to make sense. It's too good to be true.
No, brother, because I realize the simpler it is, the better it usually is. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Someone understands life. Lies always exist with complexity. So if you ever hear a 19-step formula to wealth creation, it's a lie. Okay? It's not just a little lie. It's not a little white lie. Like, do I look good in these jeans? Yes, babe. No, it's not like one of those lies. It's like, a meteoric. Like, it's a big lie. All right. The simpler something is, there's probably more truth to it. That's just a general rule of thumb. There's exceptions to the rules. Exceptions do not disprove the point. All right. So yeah, I encourage you guys to survey your audience like this. If you want to sell to wealthy people, go see what problems they have with their wealth and how you can protect it, the principal, inside of an IUL or inside of an annuity. If you want to sell to the average Joe because it's an easy impulse decision and you can just make them feel like buying, see what's going to happen to their family when they die. Like, go survey the people. Why I'm doing this now is because I'm keeping a pulse check on my market. I like to do it every year, every quarter. And most of the times it's on sale. There's not a problem in your business that can't be solved by talking to your customers. Please understand that. Please, I'm saying that because I love you. If you would call people who've already given you money, and guys, I'll be real, sometimes it's scary to ask questions. I'm asking people who have already given me money to give me more. But guess what? They're the ones who are more willing to do it. There's already the trust factor there. So please, even if it feels scary, it's normally the right thing to do. Go to people who've already bought a policy from you. Hey, what else would you like? What type of insurance do you sell? Well, it depends. What type do you want to buy? Only sell what people want to buy first and foremost, my friends. Don't put yourself in a losing battle before the battle even begins. Know what hills are worth dying on, and most of them are not. Do you guys want to learn a cool strategy I learned from my Cancun mastermind I was just at on how this guy's selling $30,000 to $40,000 coaching programs? Maybe one of you might want to apply it to yourself. I don't know. So this guy, I'm not going to name drop because this will be going on YouTube, and I'm not going to give the full strategy because that's what he sells in his program. But essentially, how many of you know what a podcast is? All right. Well, there's different types of podcast. All right. There's different mediums to do it. So most of you want a lot of viewers on your podcast, right? You want a lot of viewers and comments, vanity metrics. Here's the thing. This guy doesn't want any of that. What he wants is he wants to get his ideal client onto his podcast to talk about whatever they want to talk about. When's the last time someone invited you to talk about whatever you got off about, whatever you wanted to talk about? So he's getting rich people onto his podcast to talk about drugs, aliens, conspiracy, whatever lights them up. So what do I like talking about on my podcast? Failures, mistakes, sales. I just love it. I don't know what it is. I love it. Luis, what's something that you're extremely passionate? Maybe it's golfing. I don't know. What is it for you?
I love music, guitar.
If you love music and art,
travel.
Let's say you're filthy rich in a year because you keep listening to me.
Right.
If someone who is at where you're at right now invited you to their podcast that's brand new and they said, hey, I've been paying attention to you for a long time, Luis, you're a big inspiration. I noticed you love music and art. Would you be willing to come spend 30 minutes talking to me about music and art and why you love it so much?
Sure.
There was no hesitation with that.
Yeah.
That was a genuine answer. Understand, physiology, it's not going to lie. So there was no hesitation with that. So what I would do is I would talk to you about that, and we're going to build know, like, and trust factors throughout me. It would probably, I bet you'd be willing to go over to an hour or two if it's once we get into the weeds of music and art, because there's so much to explain, right? The key of E and all these different things and music and octaves and all this. At the end of that, all I would do is ask you, so what's your biggest problem, Luis, with how much money you're making? I'm not getting good returns on it based on the things that I'm doing. I'm generating a 20% return, and it's I need to start diversifying my wealth. And it's well, funny that you mentioned that. I actually help with it. I sell policies that get a 5 to 7% return on average, and it's just something you can park your principal in and never worry about losing. Does that sound like something that would help you? Boom. You know what your take rate is on that after you talk to someone for 2 hours and they know you and they like you and they trust you? How many of you think you could sell some pretty nice size policies to people who have the money to pay for them if you followed that? It was brilliant to me when I was like, why have I not done that on my podcast? So if you see me interview someone that makes no sense, understand why. But that's it. Like, I think that's like pretty cool to me, interviewing your clients and then pitching them at the end. But it's not even really a pitch. It's just, one, you get access to their network if you do a really good job. And two, they might buy, like, they'll probably buy something from you simply because they know, like, and trust you more than the next insurance agent, even if they have better credibility, even if they're better at the job. You just have more rapport. And we buy from people who we what? Know, like, and trust. Tell me that's not cool. So there's a weird, unique strategy to sell insurance for somebody watching this. If you have a podcast or you want to start one, and it's not to get views and clicks. That's Joe Rogan. What he sells is advertising to his audience. That's what Joe Rogan sells. We are selling our solution to our target prospect on the web, like on the podcast, to whatever their problem is that we ask them about at the end. You know, like when you click the podcast ends and you're like, so man, tell me what you're struggling with now. What problems do you have? And you see if you can solve it. That's it. And you make an ask. Hey, would you be against doing this? Cool. Let's do it. Most of them will just sign a policy. I guarantee you that. So anybody else
Also a good way
share
to-
their, yeah, go ahead, Luis.
I was gonna say, it's also a good way to feed your referral network. Because if you can't help them with that thing, you know, maybe they need a lawyer for whatever reason. You just introduce them to somebody, or an accountant. So you introduce them over there, you know,
Yeah.
and then that person owes you a favor.
But here's the thing. Once you get that caliber of a prospect on your podcast, guess who's more likely to come on your podcast? More people like them that have money to afford what you're selling. How many of you would rather sell a $1,000 policy or a policy that pays you $10,000? That one client's worth 10 regulars. You can trade up on your audience the more money you have, because you can afford better and better marketing for better and like higher quality relationships with people who have deeper pockets. Okay. This is the game. You're just trading bad problems for better ones. That's it. That's it, guys. Understand that. And the quicker you can trade those, faster you get where you want. Just don't break fulfillment and delivery. Like, don't leave a bad taste in people's mouths, because they won't forgive you for it. People will never forgive you for two things: if you lie to them or if you bore them. You can even make them mad sometimes. I got people that still give me money even though they hate me, because they get results with what I teach. They're like, Mason, you cuss way too much for me. I can't play a lot of your videos around the kids, even though there's a disclaimer that says, warning, put on headphones. I have a disclaimer. I'm a nice person, okay? But sometimes I get heated and I cuss, okay? Because they're powerful words, and in all reality, they're fun to say. Let's be real. Sometimes it's nice to let out an F-bomb. You're like, it felt good to get that off of me. Anyways. Anybody else want to share their stories? If not, I won't keep you guys long. I just plan on this being an hour. But hopefully that shed some lights on you for some things. I appreciate, of course, you paying me to become a customer. That's just so you pay attention. If you don't have anything in, you won't get anything out. Understand that's a life philosophy. And I just value you as overall people. You want to do amazing things in the world, and I think that is what makes you truly unique. And you don't need other people to know who you are for you to know who you are, like Miss Brandy Linneman has discovered. All righty, no unmutes, no hands raised, so expect some details on Lead Lifeline coming up. If you have any questions about that, or if you want to go ahead and make a down payment for it, I'm happy to take some more. The more I love you guys, the more I want to charge you. Trust me, once you get better clients, you'll realize the exact same thing. And in all reality, it's a mere pittance compared to the value you'll get back in return and the life transformation. So I love you all. Keep being awesome, happy, awesome, prosperitans, and peace to poverty, lace up, and I've got all the cute sayings. So I'll see you guys tomorrow on tomorrow's call for coaching. And until next time.
Okay.
See you
Good. Thank
guys.
you.
If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the damn subscribe button. All right.